I'm a 20-year-old woman, and this event occurred 4 years ago, when I was around 16. It was during the summer between my sophomore and junior years of high school. I've encountered several unsettling situations living in West Virginia, but this remains one of the most disturbing. I'll recount the events as accurately as I can. This happened in Cherry River, just before it flows into Nicholas County. My friend and I drove separately and met at a pull-off along the main road to do some fishing. Next to the pull-off was a place called State Road Garage. It was enclosed by a fence that required a key for entry. At the time, I didn't know its purpose, but later research revealed that it belongs to the West Virginia Department of Transportation. To the left of the building is a short trail that led down to the river. That evening, the garage appeared to be deserted, with no cars or workers in sight. The only vehicle we noticed was a weathered pickup truck, possibly an old Silverado, with a camper shell on the back. I can vividly recall the 3 deadbolt locks securing the camper shell to the frame, and 2 very unsettling individuals sitting in the front. The truck was parked far into the trail's entrance, on rough terrain, while we parked by the main road. We didn't want to risk getting stuck. This immediately put me on edge, as I've been watching true crime and scary stories on YouTube since I was 11. This scene felt like the opening of a horror story. From what I recall, the truck's occupants were a disheveled blonde woman who appeared worn down and possibly missing teeth, and a greasy, long-haired man in a wife beater. Crackheads are never able to hide their addiction that well. As we passed their truck on the way to the river, they locked eyes with us, staring intently. My friend seemed less concerned than I was. I tend to be a bit paranoid naturally. Strange characters are common to our area. Most of them are harmless, but I never let my guard down. My friend mentioned that she should call her boyfriend, who lived 20 minutes away, if anything happened, though I wasn't sure how that would help in the moment. We began fishing, and my friend caught a rock bass. Not long after, we heard footsteps and looked up to see the woman from the truck approaching the riverbank. She looked rough. She may have been an attractive woman once upon a time, but the prolonged drug use had taken its toll. Her teeth were severely damaged, giving her jaw that sunken appearance, and her skin resembled a crumpled up paper bag. She was holding a red Kodak camera. When she got to the riverbank, she asked, "Can you tell me your first and last name and ages?" She then told us that she was taking photos for a newspaper. My alarm bells were going off big time. My friend and I had made plenty of poor decisions in our teens, but I was always weary of strangers, especially in this context. But I panicked and gave my first name, but lied about my age, subtracting just 1 year. A pointless fib that wouldn't have mattered if our details were being collected. I didn't give my last name, and I can't recall what my friend said. The woman then asked, "Can I take your picture?" Despite my unease, I was a people pleaser and reluctantly agreed. She snapped our photo and started back toward her truck, tripping on the rocks as she went. My friend and I stifled giggles at the odd encounter. A short time later, my friend's fishing line broke, and we headed back to our cars. To my frustration, halfway back she told me that she had forgotten her tackle box by the river. Every instinct screamed not to go back, but I knew it wasn't a good idea for her to go back alone, so I reluctantly followed her back down to the riverbank. On our way back, we encountered the man from the truck. He reeked like he had been bathing in a shit bath. "Have y'all seen my girlfriend?" His question was odd. They had been together in the truck before the woman approached us. This felt like a setup, straight out of a human trafficking scenario. Alarmed, we told him, "Yeah, she went that way," pointing in the opposite direction of our fishing spot. He nodded and wandered off. I urged my friend to leave, baffled by her insistence that everything was fine. I was on high alert, half expecting the couple to charge at us with weapons. I scanned the area, noting that the rocks along the river could be used as potential defense and planning escape routes. The silence that set in was eerie. Maybe they left, or maybe they were waiting. About 10 minutes later, a blood-chilling scream echoed from upriver. It sounded like the woman from the truck. Terrified, we bolted into the forest, away from the river, and through the dense thicket. There was no trail, just a patch of trees parallel to the main path. The scream seemed to come from near the trail's entrance, so we couldn't risk heading that way. We came out of the tree line along the main road, downstream from our cars, and we sprinted to them. We tossed our tangled up fishing gear inside and locked our doors. As we caught our breath, we see the couple rushing back to their truck. I was honestly surprised to see that the woman was still alive. They glared at us before hopping into their truck and speeding off. My friend and I sat there and tried to process the whole ordeal, watching the road in shock. Minutes later, the old Silverado flew past us again, heading in the opposite direction. The woman was leaning out of the passenger window with her camera, and she snapped another picture of us. My friend pulled out behind them, and so did I, and we followed her. My friend recorded herself reciting the license plate number to remember it. The truck veered into back roads and eventually lost us. We drove to my grandmother's house nearby and told her everything. She agreed that we should call the police. An officer eventually came and took our statements, but I worried he didn't take us seriously. He said he would run the license plate, but we never heard back. I've always wondered who those people were and what they had planned. Somewhere, there may be some photos of my friend and I, awkwardly holding our fishing poles, possibly labeled with our names and ages, pinned to a corkboard in a dark room. It was about a year after this happened that the Donald Ray Lands and the Jean K. Whitefeather case became headline news around here. They were a couple who adopted 5 black children from a Minnesota shelter and forced them into labor as slaves on their property. The couple that we encountered were not them, but it does make me wonder what could have happened to us that day. The woman screaming could have been a ruse to get us somewhere so they could force us into the back of that Silverado. Our parents might have never known our fate, which still bothers me to think about. I've searched local news websites and online articles, but I found nothing about the couple we encountered that day. I still go fishing often, but I've never returned to that spot.